Hello, I'm ABX again. This is Seed Sunday, the weekly series I run on my channel where I show you seeds, Minecraft console edition, which are particularly interesting and worth checking out in some way. And this week's seed is a really weird one because of the fact that it's a pretty good seed on the surface. It has a lot of great stuff you would normally want, such as a wooden mansion, such as a bunch of Minecraft villages, and so on and so forth. But it also has a lot of really weird things that you might be confused by, such as a mushroom biome intersecting a roof forest, such as a lot of floating blocks, including ones that you're not meant to see underneath. So if you ever wanted to see underneath a cactus, this seed gives you the opportunity to see underneath cacti, to see underneath, stuff like grass, and to see underneath dry bushes, dead bushes, live bushes, whatever we call them. But you get to see underneath a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally because the seed brings a lot of floating blocks that aren't meant to float. And today I wanted to walk you through them and show you this seed, which was brought to me by Arctic Subset 64. So big thanks to him. The seed that he sent me, it's on screen right now. If you're on the console edition and want to recreate this, you're going to have classic world size, and you're going to want to have the small biome preset, because if you do that, then you'll spawn right here on this right here seed. If you don't spawn here, then you've probably typed something wrong. Again, small biome size and that seed with a classic world size, because if you do spawn in here, then you'll notice there's some clay around you. You'll notice there's really not too much going on besides a forest to your right, a birch forest to your north, and then there's big puddle of like sadness to your left. However, if you look to your right instead and you climb a little bit higher, you'll see this is actually a great seed because it spawns you right next to a woodland mansion. So everybody loves woodland mansions. It's hard to argue against having one because of all the goodies that they do bring with them. However, the reason that I'm mentioning this one is not just the fact that it's near spawn, it's the fact that it also brings with it this really weird gap in it right here. So this gap is a little bit of a glitch of the seed. Again, the seed is pretty glitchy, as you'll see with all the floating stuff later, including, by the way, floating grass right here that we'll get into in a second. But basically, the seed is really glitchy, and one part of that is that the wooden mansion just has a hole in it where two parts didn't connect fully. So guess what? You can dig through this little hole, and you can bring yourself right into the wooden mansion. So I'd recommend digging around from up here to stay away from the evokers, because, early on in the game, you don't have the stuff to deal with them. But yeah, if you look around these floors, you'll see a bunch of the, stuff that you're here for. And if you go to the top floor, the one above this, which again, fairly easy climb above, you'll see a bunch of chests, including some of the best Minecraft wooden mansion loot that we've seen in quite some time for the console edition. So I'll just break through a window to show you what it's like inside here, because there is a room over here, which has, again, the bed, two doors kind of system. And then up here, you'll find a diamond hoe. That's right, a diamond hoe right here. So you don't have to spend your diamonds on any hoes. You can get one straight from the chest, get a bunch of iron alongside that. So you have, some leggings and some boots to go along with the second chest, which is found a little bit further along here in the boxing ring room. So the boxing ring room is one of my favorites because if you're looking at it correctly, you'll find right here a diamond chest plate, a lead, you'll find some string, you'll find some wheat, you'll find an enchanted golden apple, all amazing stuff. By the way, I'm going to turn off the daylight cycle, but basically you find a bunch of amazing stuff all found within that place, and basically just having access to this wooden mansion gives you access to 3 pretty rare items. A diamond chestplate takes 8 diamonds, a diamond hoe is just a nice little luxury, and an enchanted golden apple, well, I mean, there's literally an achievement for eating that, so yeah, make the most of it while you can with the wooden mansion. Next to the wooden mansion are 2 things of interest. The first one is the fact that there is this little pool over here where you can see underneath grass. So again, you're not meant to see underneath the grass texture. It's not really, designed for this, and it's kind of weird because at the perfect angle, again, it's really hard to line up, the grass disappears entirely. Again, if you can get this perfectly done, you can have grass that basically vanishes to nothing. You can see that right there. Pretty crazy, right? That you can, see grass with texture you can't otherwise see. Again, you might find that interesting, or the other stuff we're going to show off later, maybe more. But also, to the south of the Woodland Mansion, you'll find yourself a mushroom biome. So this is technically a mushroom island, except some of the mushroom islands somehow got infected with a roof forest right here, as you can tell. So you've got a roof forest on the same island as this mushroom biome, which is, kind of weird by itself, because these are meant to be rare islands in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by nothing. But in this case, because of the console edition world generator, you don't only get that, you also get, well, one, floating mycelium if you're into floating blocks, but you also get a mixture of the roof forest biome with the tiniest birch forest biome ever. Again, these aren't meant to spawn naturally in roof forests, so clearly there is some glitch in the Minecraft console world seed that is generating 2 biomes on top of each other. Again, that is not normal, that is not a thing you normally see, and it's something that is just a really unique part of this seed that you might want to, take advantage of just a little bit. But in case that's not your favorite thing you want to take advantage of, then maybe you want to head to this island right here, Acacia Little Island, Savannah Island. Yeah, maybe it's your thing. You get a nice view of a mesa, you get a nice view of the wooden mansion, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, the mesa over here is particularly interesting. We got ourselves another floating block, because floating blocks are everywhere. You get yourself a rather nice, opportunity to get some stained clay, or hardened clay, or whatever you want to call it. You get the magic block that is found here. you get some red sand, which is always nice, and most importantly of all, there is a pool found to the right here, which is technically in the swamp, and in this swamp you'll find 2 more floating blocks. That's right, 2 more blocks you're not ever meant to see underneath, another piece of grass, so that's kind of weird by itself, and you also see a dead bush, or sometimes it's a dead bush, sometimes it's a shrub, but you see a dead bush because it's technically part of the mesa biome, and the reason that's so interesting is because, again, same thing where like there is no texture underneath it, because you're not meant to be down here. There is no natural Minecraft way, unless this block glitches, to see underneath it. Also in the same vein, there is also a floating piece of sand here, so that's kind of wacky, and just, yeah, things float on this seed where they really shouldn't be floating, and I don't know what is causing it, but it's pretty wacky. One of the most destroyed trees you'll ever find, it's just a single piece of wood and vines. Bear in mind, again, this is entirely untouched seed for the most part, and yeah, that's pretty crazy. So let's head to the northeast, because again, there's an ice spikes biome here, which you're going to want to check out at the same time, because it's so close to your mesa biome. It comes right next to a flower forest, so you get that dream combination of some rare blocks in terms of flowers. Again, you can only find these flowers here naturally, and by bone mealing them into more one of them. So again, orange flowers, red flowers, white flowers, all the different tulips. You also get the purple flowers, you also get the white ones. You get all the rare flower forest stuff here, and then you get the packed ice from this biome, which is just amazing. With the next update, you really want packed ice, because 9 packed ice equals a blue ice, and blue ice is something you really definitely want. Just trust me on that one. So yeah, if we head to the west of this though, back into the center, you'll find a bunch of the biomes which people generally are a fan of. Again, my opinion is that any flat biome is a great biome because it's easy to build with, and in the case of the savannah and the desert, there's no rain either. So yeah, it's really great being here, not only because there is a lot of flatness and a lot of trees to build with, but also you're going to find yourself a NPC village. So the village is great because guess what? It does contain some extra stuff here. So if we look over here, you can see how inside the room there are some diamonds and there's some more armor to go with that diamond armor from earlier. So what is that? Like a diamond pickaxe, a diamond hoe, some iron armor, a diamond chest plate, all good stuff already. And then there's also a floating cacti. So this floating cacti is really weird. Admittedly, you can't get too close to it or really see underneath it unless you go here. And even then, you're only seeing it like slightly from underneath, which again, kind of a weird thing. But the other floating cacti is above some stairs. So again, this is a floating cacti. It spawned on some stairs somehow. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is there. But the reason this one's so interesting is because you can literally see directly underneath this. So again, the cacti underneath texture is one that very few people know about because you're not meant to see underneath it. The Minecraft never intends there to be a way for you to see this part of the texture. And yeah, if you want to be part of the exclusive Cool Kids Club who has seen underneath the cacti, this seed is one of the very few ways you'll ever be able to do that. Again, the only other way is you have to like do some weird glitching. Even in creative, you have to go through a lot of steps, and even then not really, to be able to see underneath the cacti. And here it is just randomly floating above some stairs. Because again, there's the stairs blocks, there's a stair block, then there's a gap, and then there's the thing. I don't understand what happened here, what the game thought was happening, but it's clearly led to one of the strangest issues, and one of the strangest, honestly, I think is worth like turning it to one build, because you can remove all the blocks around here. As long as you don't place anything next to it, you can keep the floating cacti there, and you can turn it into its own little, tourist destination for your Minecraft world, which, I feel like we all need. We all need more opportunities for that sort of thing. Also, if you like floating sand, there's a lot more opportunities around the map. So here, floating sand, for instance. There's also in some of the mountains around here, some floating sand, and that's just, basically my point of this is you're going to find a lot of floating blocks because gravity doesn't need to replace the world generator all the time. And, sometimes we see floating sand on normal seeds, but finding, floating cacti and floating dead bush and floating, grass and floating, sand and floating gravel, which is all in the same seed, it's an amazing combination. So yeah, I'll show you some more of that as we go around it. You'll find that by yourself if you look around it too. But as well as this first village I've shown off, we've got a second village over here. It's not quite as impressive as the first one, but it is amazing because it comes with, guess what, floating desert temple. But it also comes with a not floating village, because when a village is meant to generate in the air, or like generate on a hill like this, it just generates all the way to the ground. So instead of it being a floating thing, although look at that, look, it's that sad little flower in there. Instead of being a floating village, you instead get a village with a door that just traps the villager inside here. He's such a sad villager. He's looking out the freedom he could have, but no, he can't ever leave this building. He's trapped in there, which is good for safety. Same thing with this house over here, except the villagers can fall out, just not get back in. Again, kind of a tragic thing if you ask me. And yeah, basically it's just a village which comes with a lot of weird houses, and of course, everyone's favorite thing, another chest, which again, one of the most lackluster chests I think I've ever seen in Minecraft. 4 oak saplings, a piece of bread, and a saddle. I mean, like, it almost couldn't be sadder unless you tried to remove the saddle, but that's the best you can do. Then we've, of course, got, oh, look at this, by the way, some rather weird pathways going into the desert, because it's not meant to be like that. So yeah, with that said, let's go into the desert temple, because the desert temple also contains some great loot. So on top of all the good loot we've gotten already, we're also going to get access to I guess TNT. But we're looking at access to another golden apple. We're gonna have access to another golden apple. We're gonna have access to another saddle. And the best bit of all, you're gonna have a curse of binding. These curses are really hard to find in Minecraft console. So the fact that there's a Des temple floating above the water, in the river here, which has one, I think is wonderful. There's even a pathway from the village to the Des temple. So, in my opinion, that's a great little thing. You break a block, you get up there, and it's all wonderful. So let's move on to the third village, because there is another village found just over here. Again, this one isn't quite as amazing because there's no blacksmith chest, but based on that last blacksmith chest, it might as well have not had one either, right? So we've got a pretty great village which has like pathways into both the regular forest, intersected by trees, which is kind of a bummer, and also a pathway which goes into the roof forest, which I kind of like. Like, there's something enchanting about this view to me. Maybe just me. Maybe you agree with it too. Maybe it gets you a sense of adventure tingling. But either way, I want to head to the south of this because this is only the third village. There is actually a fourth one found all the way south of the first one, all the way south of this other stuff. By the way, you want floating sand? Here's some more floating sand for you. Like I mentioned, again, you'll find it all over this seed. There's just floating sand everywhere because, this is the no gravity seed, it seems. So, yeah, if we head to the south of that, then you'll see that all the way at the far, far south, just back to where the spawn was actually, you'll find another village really, really close to the spawn. And this one's quite intriguing because it goes to the very edge of the world. Again, classic Minecraft console worlds are 864 by 864 blocks. So it's really interesting to find inside one of those, a village which is right at the edge of where you can have a village. And this village is interesting because it also, as well as being a fairly small village, again, there's no planters here. There's just a few houses and a blacksmith. There is a blacksmith chest and there is pathways going all the way out to sea. So those are interesting by themselves. But first, let's check out the blacksmith, where, as you can see, there's 2 iron chest plates. There's some diamond horse armor. So to match your armor, you can give your horse an armor too now, which, again, kind of a nice thing. And there's also pathways which go literally right out to sea. So, yeah, I think that's a wonderful little part of it. Also, this villager is trapped in this place here. And this seed in general is a really interesting one that I definitely recommend because of all the weirdness and because it gives you your first opportunity to first-hand see a floating dead bush. You can confuse your friends as to like, yeah, guess why the dead bush is floating, or like, what we want, if you did some clever stuff with the mesa biome, because the mesa biome goes all the way to the edge of the world in a way that it's not meant to, because there's meant to be a border between the world, edge and the very edge. However, jungles and a few other biomes don't abide by that. So here is a mesa biome, and at the very edge of the world, there are blocks that you can only stand on. You can't break or remove in any way. So if you remove the rest of these, because you can remove this blocks, you could just be like, yeah, guess how I placed that, and confuse some friends. So yeah, this is the seed of confusion. That's also a pretty good survival seed because of the Woodland mentioned stuff that also allows you to see some stuff you've perhaps never seen. And I think because of that, I would totally recommend it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you to Arctic Subset 64 for sending it in, and let me know if you want to keep on seeing Seed Sundays, because it's been a while since I've done this, but yeah, seeds are particularly interesting to me right now, so let me know if you have any great ones. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you all enjoy the new style of Seed Sunday with the new style of titles and whatever. I know, like, some people find them tricky, but that's YouTube 2018. Like, that's just how things are. So I hope you all enjoyed it, because I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.